Hello, the time is 20 to 8 in the morning. I've just got up and to be honest I'm pretty dog tired because I've been doing essays for the last week and a bit. However, today I'm going to try filming a vlog, which sounds hideously cringe to say, I can't lie, but I've had two ideas for a couple of smaller videos that I could have done, and I thought, well, instead of doing them separately, why not put them all together and see what happens. Who knows, I might throw all of this footage away because if I hate it, but we can only try, can't we? So the first thing I'm going to do is get some coffee, and then we have a very, very teeny tiny woodworking job to do. Right, now I've got some caffeine in me, we're up where the tools are, so let's crack on. Right, so what are we actually doing? You will remember from the last time I went on a winter bushcraft camp that I had a new flint and steel, and I said that I would at some point put a wooden handle on it to make it easier to use, because at the minute it's very hard to keep hold of while I'm trying to throw sparks with it. Now, this isn't the proper final version of that. One day I will do something nice, hopefully turned, maybe a bit of burl, who knows, stuck on the end of this to make a lovely handle. But for now, I'm going camping tomorrow, so I need a temporary one. So I've got a bit of hazel. I'm literally just gonna lop off a couple of inches of this, drill a hole in it, resin it on, and the reason I'm doing this so early is because I'm going tomorrow, and the resin will take probably at least 24 hours to go off properly, so I want to give it as much time as I can to get stuck on there before I go away. So let's crack on. Here she be. Because this hazel's so green, it's like a sponge. I thought I was going to have to, this is a 10mm firesteel, and I thought I was going to have to drill a slightly oversized hole, but this is a 10mm spade bit, and it's just created a nice little bit of wiggle room in there because it's so soft. I'm going to call it there. That's how it'll look hopefully when it's done. We'll get some epoxy mixed up now. Probably try and hold it over that way when it goes off. Right in the bottom we'll put a clamp on here like that. Hopefully it'll be all right. I'll probably also seal the end of the hazel, and that might stop it splitting quite so quick. Who knows? Right, one's resin, one's hardener, and it's a 1-to-1 ratio, nice and easy. It's just for like modelling and stuff. Looks like I've glued the lid to the bottle. Crikey, I only used them recently. God. Damn it. One. Jesus, the cold weather might not be helping. That or I've just gone weak. Oh, cut. Got them both now. And we're not going to need much at all. That much probably. You should also have your gloves on, because when this stuff goes off, it goes off. You cannot get it off. It's risky doing it in my precious wool shirt, to be honest. Do not want to be getting it on that. In fact, maybe I should take it off. Resin's always gloopier than the hardener. About that. Really good mix. Smell the vapours, get it hot, and then rather hurriedly before it goes off. Good dollop in the bottom. It will all come spewing out, I'm sure, over everything and everything. bit on this. Yeah, we've made up too much. But better too much than too little, eh? Squeeze this in here. Yeah. There. There's plenty in there, so all we've got to do now is leave that to dry. Do it. Clamp, clamp. Perfect. Now the leftover, unfortunately, it will only go off in the pot, so I'm going to have to go and chuck it on the garden again like I did a minute ago. So there we go, a little bit of a close-up for you. Focus, there it is. Hopefully it turns out okay. I'll leave it here, obviously I'll put this inside, but I'll leave it in this clamp sort of setup for as long as we can. Now I'm going to get packed up here and head home again for my next job. Right, don't touch the table too much because we've got the camera set up here on computer cam. We're back home. My next job is to submit my 2 essays for uni. So these are summative essays that I have done. They are the final assessment things before the end of the modules. One about Catherine the Great of Russia, 18th century, and the other about medieval chivalry and courtly love. Last thing I need to do, I've just read them through for a final time, is double space them. Double check the word count a minute ago. Here we go, spacing, double. And then the other one. All my bibliography and sources. I'm acting like I've smashed them, I've got no idea. Right, and then the other thing is we need to make them PDFs, and how do I do that again? I can't remember. Got it. Download. Here we go. PDF document. Same again. Download. PDF document. I'll just go and rename them so I can recognize them when I'm uploading them. And now head on over to the VLE. So now this is Catherine. Go to assessment, submission point. It is deadline day, but deadline is 2 p.m. And as you can see, we've got 4 hours spare, so that's fine. They do tell you to leave plenty of time. Upload submission, choose file, Catherine essay, upload and review. Excellent. There we go, that's that one done. Same again for chivalry.
A few moments later.
Okie dokie, that's all looking as good as it's gonna get to me. 2 weeks of work on essays pretty much done. Excellent, that's a weight off my shoulders. So now that we've done that, I'm going to go shopping and then we shall do some cooking. Right, I'm back with my ingredients, and I forgot to mention earlier that another reason for me being so hurried when doing my woodwork earlier was that I needed to get those essays in. But now that we've done that, that little woodwork project was one of the ideas that I had for a very small video, and the other idea was to do some cooking. Because, as you will have seen in my last video, I'm sure it's up there somewhere, I have made a spatula from... Everything's falling over. I have made a spatula for myself at uni, and I saw someone after the video had gone up and they said, great video, now we just need to see you using it to cook something. So I thought, well, I'll see if I can fit it in, but I didn't really know what to cook. But we've got some leftover ham from Christmas, so I'm going to try and make a quiche, which I've never done on my own before. Done it with mum before, So yeah, hopefully that'll involve using the spatula. Hopefully it'll go well. So let's get on with it. So we've got a flan dish. A little bit of flour in the bottom, plain flour, stop the pastry sticking, I guess. And then I have neither the time nor the patience to make my own short crust pastry today, so we're just going to use some shop bought stuff. Well, I'm supposed to cut off the pastry to be flush with the tops, which this is not. However, I could, I suppose, cut it and do 2 pieces, but then I'd have a join in the middle, and I don't want it to leak, so I'm gonna... Maybe we just persevere like this. We might be able to stretch it up at the sides a little bit. What we do need to do is get it pushed nicely into the corners of the dish. Right, I had an idea and I just took a little tiny piece of the offcuts and used that to patch in the sides here. Hopefully that'll be all right. So there you go, trimmed it off flush with the top of the flan dish, pushed it into the corners. So we'll pop that aside, plastic board, and start chopping up our ham into pieces the size of dice. Next thing we're going to do is add some onion and some shrooms. Now I could get a clean knife, but that means more washing up. Doesn't matter, the meat was cooked anyway. How many of these should we go for? Let's start with 3. I always like to cut up the onion last because it always makes me cry, so I prefer to do everything else with functioning vision and then blind myself at the end, rather than blind myself with the onion first and then have to cut up everything else with a sharp knife while I'm blinded. I'm going to try and cut this quite small as well, because I don't want, when you cut into the quiche, to end up having to try and cut through bits of onion and end up with great long strings of it everywhere. We'll try and cut it into nice little squares. Probably don't even need to fry this stuff off, but for the sake of that one viewer who wanted me to cook something with the spatula, we'll just soften them up a little bit. Right, are we ready? Big moment. Will it work? Will it fail catastrophically? Oh my God. Would you look at that? Like a dream, getting into the corners and everything. Try and get everything nice and evenly distributed, and then it's about ready for the oven. Other thing we need to add is a generous sprinkling of cheese. Plenty of cheddar, but even more important than that, my favourite, some red Leicester. Right, now what my recipe says to do next is to pull out a middle shelf of the oven and put a large baking tray on it. Now the reason for that is because my mother knows me quite well, and what I have to do next is fill that dish with milk and egg. And if you did that over here and then had to, say, carry it across your kitchen very full, chances of me slopping milk and everything everywhere are very high. So what we're going to do is fill this shelf out halfway. Got a tray on here. Now this also means that if this should boil over in the oven, it means it's easier to just clean up one tray than the entire oven. Stick that on there. Then we'll make up our eggy milky liquid and then pour it in and then cook it with all we've got to do then is just push a shelf in. For the liquid we need 1, 2 eggs. We were cooking with egg whites a little while ago and had a yolk left over, so I'm going to throw that in there. Splash of milk. Now I'm going to guess we've got to fill that flan dish, so less is more. We can always add more milk if it needs a top up, and then some salt and pepper. Plenty of that. with a whisk. And then we'll pour it in here. I believe the recipe said 3/4 of the way of the flan dish full. This isn't enough, is it? Well, more milk, I suppose. Swill it round, get all the egg out of the jug. See what I mean about slopping milk and egg all over the kitchen? I reckon we'll go for that for a start. And I suppose we can always add some more if we need it. Clean up my mess. 180 for half an hour. While the quiche was in the oven, I decided to make some chocolate and ginger flapjacks. So first I weighed and finely chopped 100 grams of stemmed ginger. Then I put 175 grams of margarine, 50 grams of chocolate, and 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder into a large saucepan, along with 225 grams of demerara sugar and 75 grams of golden syrup. I melted all this over a low heat until it was nice and smooth, before adding 275 grams of porridge oats and the ginger and stirring it really well. Then I put the mixture into a greased and lined baking tray and pressed it flat with the back of a spoon. Alright, it's just actually been in there over 45 minutes now, but it was taking a while for the middle to set. I think though, we are finished. There it is. And the flapjack is going into the oven now at 140 degrees Celsius for 35 minutes-ish. Well, to be honest with you, the cooking and the firesteel were my two main jobs today that I was considering making videos about. But as we're trying out the concept of doing a vlog, which I can't see myself doing every single day, I might as well show you me doing another small job, which is sorting out the fire. I've been burning on the weekends, normally a Wednesday night as well. And the ash is pretty full. So we'll get this swept out, emptied out, get some wood in. Suppose I could do a little bit of an update on the Logstore that I built in the summer. There'll be another link somewhere of that video, no doubt. That's 2 years old now, in fact, this coming summer. Not one. So I've taken obviously the front grate off. Ash pan is underneath. This copper scuttle, hopefully you can see it. Yeah, just about. We keep logs in. This is another coal scuttle that we keep kindling in. And then I also have a grey crate that I inevitably don't, if we're not using the fire, I'll leave it outside, but I'll put some medium-sized stuff in that. And the other thing I quite often do now, because for years now we've stopped burning coal in this, we only burn wood in it now, to be a little bit nicer to the planet. Which means that it makes a lot less ash than it ever used to. And it also means that whenever I empty the ash, it's now cold too. Whereas before, it would stay hot for so much longer doing coal. So it saves me burning my hand off doing the ash. Makes it a little bit safer too, having to carry ash through the house to take it outside. But the other thing that happens with wood ash that I'm not sure as coal ash does so much, if you look at that pile of ash there, and then I start smacking it around with the shovel, it shrinks down to absolutely nothing. So I always just take the pan out and smash it up and put it back in there, and then it makes a load less of it. I'll have to do less trips that way. So there you go, by smashing up all of that ash that was in there, it just massively reduces its volume for some reason. It's like it's really fluffy and flaky. You know, it's super delicate little flakes, and then when it's in there, and then when I come to empty it, I just smash them all up. It makes it so much finer, so much denser powder, I suppose. It goes into much smaller volume, so I only have to do one trip with the pan now. We'll just sweep up these last little bits, and then we'll go and pop that in the compost. So do check that video out if you haven't already seen it of me building this wood store. But and it's holding up pretty well, to be fair, now that it's 2 years in. I was always wondering how quickly these posts at the bottom touching the concrete were going to rot out, but they seem to be doing okay so far. The roof has a little bit of a sag in it, maybe down this end where the join is. But other than that, it's doing all right. It's waterproof enough. Everything stays fairly dry, which is good. Everything's nice and stable. Plenty of space in it. This year, I completely filled this right up to the top with logs. And we are, maybe about halfway through it. Now, so that would have been from me burning all day on Christmas Day, all day on New Year's Day, and then on all sorts of evenings over, you know, the Christmas period, Christmas limbo between Christmas and New Year's, and on Christmas Eve and stuff like that. And then obviously since everybody's now back to school and I've been doing essays and things, just on a weekend nights and maybe a Wednesday night I've been burning. So that's the sort of rate of wood that I go through. Maybe, I don't know, each time I burn, go probably through half a bucket of logs, nearly a full grey crate, that kind of rate of consumption. So at the minute, all I've got split down for the medium stuff is this bit here. So we'll fill this crate up and then probably need to split some more, and then we'll just fill that bucket up as well. Right, we're all cleared up, swept up as best I can. It's quite hard to get the powdery stuff from where the woodworm's been in some of them. Here we go, full crate of medium stuff, full bucket of logs. We'll take those back inside and then do the last job of the day. Flapjack's done, by the way. Well, the last job is to pack for camping tomorrow. So what have we got? Jumpers, walking boots, we'll need those. Brushes. What else? We'll take 2 sleeping bags, big one. Mesh pins, we'll need those. Ratchet straps, could need a couple of those for building, I suppose. Ground sheet, maybe. Work shirts, the other more up. That'll be me for the next little while, cramming it all into a bag. I'll say goodbye for now for this video though, and I shall see you, it'll be tomorrow that I'm filming the camping obviously, with Aaron. Who knows what this vlog has turned out like. Maybe you've enjoyed it, maybe you haven't. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be a regular thing, but it was worth a try, I suppose. Try anything once. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed. See you next time. Goodbye.